Welcome to the Rough Kut here on Urbanish TV. I'm your host, singer, songwriter, producer, and CEO of London Records, Chanel B. Today we have a wonderful special celebrity guest. He has plenty of hats. We have RL from Next, the group Next, the awesome, legendary, iconic trio, and of course his iconic self. He's a producer. He's just an amazing influencer. It's definitely in the music industry. So we definitely want to welcome you here, RL. We appreciate you coming through. How are you?
I appreciate you guys having me. I'm wonderful. I can't complain at all.
Good, good. So here on Urbanish TV, on the Rough Kut, we take celebrities, we put them in a positive light, of course, and we also want to make sure that we give back to those who are trying to follow in your footsteps or go to where you're going. And what better way to do that than to talk to the people themselves that have gotten to
Right.
where we're trying to go. So it's amazing. So here we start off with a game, just a little icebreaker, if you don't mind.
We can do whatever. I'm with it. Let's go. I'm ready.
Okay, good, y'all. He said he's down for whatever. So let's see. So you are going to be stuck in the elevator with one of the two people that I'll say. So I'll mention two names. You give me the one that you would rather be stuck in the elevator with and what your conversation would be like. You ready?
Cool. Yep.
So we'll do Frankie Beverly or Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye. That's easy.
Okay, why?
Because we share a birthday.
Yeah,
I've been April 2nd. I've been on tour with Mr. Frankie Beverly before. My cousin is Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind and Fire. So for me, I've been around some I consider them the legends.
Right.
A conversation would really be about how did he encompass his pain into his music. I remember, he was going through a crazy, bitter divorce, and he did a whole project because he had to pay her alimony. So he did an album. It's called Hear My Dear, and it's really his alimony for her, right? So for me, it's figuring out ways to channel pain and all this negative energy and different things that you go through. And how did he go about putting it to wax? At that time, it was wax.
Ooh, that was a good one. That was interesting. Very good, very good. So the next one, let's do 50 Cent or Jay-Z.
Well, I know 50. He was on our second album before anybody even knew who he was. So I've been to the offices and all that. We cool. So it would be Jay, because I always want to meet individuals that, I've probably been around,
right,
but never had an opportunity to really converse with them on a personal level.
Right.
So I would get knowledge into the game because, I've seen that he's had some negative press with the Kaepernick situation.
Right.
But, I have a different view on it. I feel like a lot of our people are so busy arguing about directions that they don't focus on the destination. One person's direction said kneel, as a way to protest. Jay was saying, I want to get in the establishment, learn it, get my boys in there and take over. So I would want to learn his viewpoint on social justice, economic justice, all these different things, because I want to be better. I think he's the most successful rapper in history, to be honest. Besides, of course, Will Smith. But as far as business, coming from the street like he did and being able to turn it around, I want to learn how to do that, man. Listen, I want to know how you take the streets and go to the boardroom like that, on that level.
About that level, right. Oh, that's amazing. That's very great to know, too, because, this business is, 85% business and 10 to 15% talent. So, yeah, you got to know that business side.
Maybe less now. Less now.
Yeah.
So,
it might be a thin line now, thin line. So since we're talking about the social injustices and things along that nature, it is a lot going on in our country at this time, especially, not only facing the pandemic, but also the protest on Black Lives Matter. So what is your stance on African Americans' police brutality?
I actually went and met with the police chief in Minneapolis.
Okay.
And I really feel like the issue, a lot of it's racism, but a lot of it is people that don't like their jobs. You can go to McDonald's, you can go to Target, you can go anywhere. If somebody doesn't like their job, you still get your service or buy whatever your product is and you're out of there.
Right.
But what happens if it's a police officer that is assigned to this precinct in this neighborhood around people that he cannot identify with?
Right.
So now you're around these people you have no empathy for, you have no idea about their struggles or what they've been through. And every day you're putting on your uniform and your badge and you're hating going to work. So if you hate going to work, you're going to treat people like you hate it.
Right.
So some of the ideas that I came up with were, one of the things was actually saying, okay, look, twice a month, you're still on the clock, you still get paid, but you're not in uniform. You go to a community center. You go to these different places and learn your community to the point where, say, Leroy's over here drunk, acting crazy, talking crazy.
Right.
You pull up and you like, look, he has a larger bark than his bite. Let me take him home to Sheila. She's going to kill him. Let me put him in a squad car. He ain't going to do nothing. I'll see him tomorrow. He'll be apologizing.
Right.
It's cool. Now it's, let's tase him. Matter of fact, I feel threatened, so let me shoot him. And fatally, this is what happens. A lot of this fear, a lot of this people policing communities that they care nothing about, have no empathy for. So I feel really bad. You know, me and Steven Jackson are really cool. Mm-hmm. We talk from time to time. I've known him for years. And I feel his pain. And for us, there wasn't the first or second time. We had Philandro. We had another young man. But I think that, I don't want to say martyrs, but a lot of these things are happening for a reason. We're seeing, and it's happening during the pandemic, so you have no choice but to be home on the internet watching the news.
Right.
So you really get to see it. Other times you're so busy with life, you know, I saw something about that, an article. No, you're seeing these cycle all over television and in the paper and on the internet, so you can't deny it or run from it. So I think that this is happening this way for a reason.
Well, now let's get into some of RL's juicy stuff. I'm excited. So, How did you first get started into music? Like, where did you start? What age did you start? I know some people started young.
I can't remember not rapping or singing. It's funny because I had a record deal for rapping before I did singing.
Really?
I was a rapper first. I still mess around. No one will ever hear records, but
go ahead, spit it first.
I got, but as long as I can remember, I'm a middle child. I always wanted attention, and I was like, okay, found a way to get it. And I had a bigger brother, younger sister, and I'm like, you know what? I got to find somebody to give me some applause and tell me I'm doing good. So I found it on stage. Then I would perform at all the talent shows and different things like that. And then all of a sudden, I met the two brothers, Tilo and Tweet. They're real biological brothers.
Right.
And I remember Lance and Prof T from the group Low Key would sneak us out to Flight Time, Jimmy Terry's studio. And we just knew Jimmy and Terry was going to sign us, and they didn't. But everything happens for a reason. We ended up meeting KG from Naughty by Nature. We cleaned up a few loose ends, got in front of Clive Davis, and the rest was history.
Right. So how was it being in a group back then? Like, how was it being with two brothers? You know what I'm saying? Like
lonely,
feeling like the outcast in a sense.
I felt like the middle child again.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I'm the baby, and the public thrust me into the forefront. And I hate this word because I've never said it. People will call me the lead singer. And I hated that because it would diminish all of the other factors and contributions of my group members. But, you know, all of a sudden that happens. And then I'm the writer of the group. So, you know, things were different. And being the baby and that happening and then being siblings, it created a wedge. And I tell people, it's not necessarily us that created it. What happens is you get a little paper, you move to different places. Now you don't have to be around each other because now you ain't got to wait for T-Lo because he got the car. Now you ain't got to wait for such because you rehearse at his crib. Right. Now it's, you know, I'll be there. You know, I'll jump in my whip, leave my house, or I'll fly there. So now you're in different places. You have different crews and people that don't understand the dynamics of the relationship. So now they're in each other's ears. Oh, you should be doing this. Why is he always doing this? You should be the man that's doing this.
The outside influence.
Exactly. So then that creates the wedge and the distance, and you have to get in a room together and just talk, and all of a sudden you've been beefing for a year or two, and you're talking for 5 minutes, you're laughing like y'all talked yesterday. It's
Right.
crazy. It's crazy.
True brotherhood in a sense, although you weren't blood. It's true brotherhood. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
most definitely.
So what advice do you give people who are trying to be in a group to keep it together, to hold it together? Because I know a lot of groups that are coming out that have came after you have gotten into those same outside influential negativity to where it drove them apart.
Well, it depends. If you're saying groups are really hard,
Yeah.
just in general, because of personalities, not necessarily egos, it's personalities.
Right.
So when you have different personalities, all money and success does is amplify who you really are.
Right.
So if you were always late when you was broke, guess what? You got money now. You really bought to be late.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
right.
if you was the one that never had money to buy wardrobe because you was buying stupid stuff, well, you got paper now. Now you really buying some stupid stuff.
Right.
So in reality, the advice I would give to people is know who you're next to, and it has to be bigger than you.
So we know that you are happily married to your beautiful wife, Lena. So shout out to Lena. And we also know that you have little Miss Rory with her little beautiful self. If you guys have not seen his daughter, I need you to go and look at Rory. Like her hair is like an orangish sandish. Like she's just like the complete, you'd be like, oh, where did that come from? But it's so beautiful. So how do you juggle being a father, a husband, and all of the industry hats that you have?
Well, it's funny because I'll start here. I have a son. He's 24.
Right.
So, I don't wear a lot of jewelry, but I wear the baby pics of both my kids.
Yeah.
And I always tell my son, I'm like, you're the reason I made it. Because I was in high school and there was no, I'll chill out for a while, I'll figure it out. Because I had scholarship offers to college and things like that. There was no, well, let me take a minute. When you have a child, responsibilities change.
Right.
And I was harder on him because, I had a mortgage at 20. So I'm looking at him like, what you doing? He's 24. He's still figuring it out. He finally bought him a crib recently. And I'm like, oh, congratulations. You're late. But I have to remember that it's a different breed. I worked hard as I did then because I didn't want to be a failure for him. I continue to keep working and recreating myself because of my daughter now. Having really my daughter could be my son's daughter at this age per se. But it really taught me even more about patience and ego, because I don't care how much of an attitude I have, how tired I am. When I go upstairs after this interview, if she has energy, I got to find some.
Right.
So it's an amazing thing. I really think that it was a wake-up call from God to go, we ain't done yet. Because you can get relaxed. I could literally live off my residuals. No, not trying to flex or nothing.
Right.
I could chill out and just be like, okay, whatever. I got my publishing. Cool.
Right.
I can't let my daughter see me relax because she's still watching me. She's trying to see what it is. And then lastly, I get up at 4:30 every morning. Ooh. And there's times I don't want to, right?
Right.
But all I think about is the number 58. Because that's how old I'll be when my daughter graduates high school. And I still gotta be that dude where they're like, that's your dad, Rory? I don't care. Grade out, married. I still
your
gotta
daddy
be.
Look good, Rory. Still at 58.
Wait, how old is your dad?
Right.
My mom was asking about your dad. I still, you know what I'm saying? And I owe it to her. And to her kids. Because I don't want it to be, oh, you should have met your granddaddy. He was great. No, you're gonna meet me. I might be a little slower, but I'm going to be playing catch or something. I might be throwing underhand, but we're going to something. Right.
So, of course, we love everything that you put your hand on, your voice to, as well as the lyrics that you make all come to life. From the We Can't Be Friends with Deborah Cox to Butter Love to Wifey. But tell us about this highly anticipated solo album, The Procession. Why that name, and what can we expect from that?
Well, I feel like the urban community has a Ciroc mentality. What I mean by that is if you go to some other cultures, I'll just take the same drink my granddaddy had. I'm buying the same Levi's or Lee jeans. we're always, what's the next flavor? What's new?
Right.
And we'll laugh at you and dog you out and talk about all of the things you come up short with, and then we'll be at your funeral crying, talking about how great you was. You know what I'm saying? And the procession is actually when you're on your way to the funeral. And everybody, you know, thinks that it's over, that, you know, just give it up, you know, just live off the old school throwback circuit thing.
Right.
And I don't believe that. So it's a play on words, basically saying, you know, procession is, we're headed to my funeral, but the funeral gonna be turned, okay? It's gonna be popping.
Right.
First record I dropped was You Are. We shot the video. I have my little girl in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was for Mother's Day.
Right.
And, you know, I got that freaky manish. I'm still who I always was. Right. But I really wanted to do something that meant something to her. And when I first was recording it, she would come around even at like 1 and 2 singing lyrics and things. And I knew that it was impactful. And I really wanted her to know, you know, being a redhead, and I never wanted her to dye her hair. I always try to remind her how amazing and different she is, and to embrace that. And this was a record specifically for her, for all women, because, you know, early on when we would do music videos and things like that, people don't realize this, but we would show up and there would be a little booklet of like 4 or 5 girls. That's it, because the casting agent had already did all that.
Right.
And if there wasn't a chocolate or brown skinned girl in there, there's nothing we could do about it.
Right.
We chose from this. It wasn't like we was like, you know, we need this. We didn't have those options. So a lot of times we look back at these videos and go, okay, it was this certain kind of girl. Well, it was only this certain agency that had these kind of girls in this city when we shot this video. So for this video, I purposely said, you know what, no, I want all kinds of women. Right. I don't want it to be about the stereotypical types. So.
Anybody told you you're so amazing, you're so beautiful, yes you are. Has anybody told you you're so intelligent, you're magnificent? You gotta know, baby, you gotta know, baby, you are, baby, you know, baby, you are, baby, you know. Don't let nobody tell you that you ain't the one, Cause even with your nails chipped and your hair undone, baby, you can't be outdone. I just wanna build you up when others try to knock you down, Cause you're awesome, amazing, incredible. Has anybody told you you're so amazing? You are, you're so beautiful, you're so. Has anybody told you you're so intelligent? You are magnificent. Fellas, help me sing, 'cause baby, you are, baby, you know. 'Cause baby, you are, baby, you know, you know, you know.
But I'm getting ready for the procession. Before that, we have the letter J, which is dropping probably next month. I'm giving that away free. And it's because I call it the letter J because I sampled John B, Jodeci, and Janet Jackson.
Ooh.
So I'm giving that away, and we're shooting videos for every song. Then I have an Afrobeats album I'm dropping. Then, of course, I have the Next by Nature album, which is next to Naughty by Nature. We're doing an EP. Then I'll get ready for the procession, hopefully in the fall. But it's pretty much ready. Like, I'm just going through the records and fine-tuning it.
You just working. If he did not teach us anything during this, the thing you have to realize is even in your hiatus, because I know some people are probably like, yo, what happened to RL? Like, you know, in and out, doing things, whatever the case may be. Even in his hiatus, he has taught us to still master your craft, however it is. It may not always be in the forefront, but it's still something that pertains to what you're doing. So I thank you for that, and we love that. So how do you feel songwriting has differentiated over time? Do you feel it's differentiated, or, you know, or you just kind of
I think that there's a line that's been blurred between hip hop and R&B, some in
Right.
good ways. But it's funny because people will talk about these cats that are rap singing, and all that is domino. Back when I was super young, is here we go, here we go. It was really rappers that could stay
Right.
on pitch, and it really wasn't no like necessarily vocalists, which is cool. I think
Right.
there's a lane for everybody, so I enjoy a lot of it. I think that a lot of the younger artists are studying the radio now, which is a no-no because by the time you come out, if you get put on, it's gonna be something new on the radio. I think it's all about doing what you do best. It's hard for me because I love music. I think there's a lot of talented. Like I'm listening to Happy Day. I think that's his name. Her, of course, everybody loves her, but
Yeah.
to uh, Tiffany Gaucher, she's super dope. PJ, super dope. There's a lot of dope, different type artists. I just think that we tend to shine a light on one or two and keep it there.
Right.
You don't realize there's so much greatness
So
around
much
us.
more. Yeah. And then there's so much in the past too that some of us still have not heard, even if it was from the past. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
but
like,
but the sad part is I was listening to like XM Radio one time and they were talking about New Edition, who are legendary.
yeah.
And somebody called in and was like, "Yeah, we just want to hear the old records. They don't have to do nothing new." And it was like, "Damn, I'm not a singer." I think a lot of times we mix up singers, performers, and artists. Let's say artists, and these people aren't artists. An artist means you can leave the room and I can have a blank slate. When you come back, there's art.
Right. Right.
A lot of these people are performers or just singers. And I think that we give that title too loosely to certain people because they're not necessarily coming up with anything. They're selling it, they're selling it well and they're eating, and that's amazing, but they're not necessarily artists.
Right. And that's exactly how I feel. Like, I feel like we're getting away from the rawness, the realness of, the authenticity that we used to have back in the day. Now it's just kind of like you got something that make your head bop and they just mumbling on the track, then it's a hit. No.
Well, but it's been like that, forever. And what I mean by that, and again, I'll say this. I never wanted Too Close to be a single. I never did. I never wanted it to be a single. And I'll tell you why. I didn't like up-tempo R&B because it was always about the rapper or the sample.
Right.
It was never about the song per se. So then you would see the artist perform the record without whoever was featured.
Right.
And it wouldn't be the same. The only record that came out that didn't have a feature that was rocking was This Is How We Do It. Montella, he was rapping on his own record.
Mm-hmm.
And we were jealous of 112 and Jagged because they came from Bad Boy and So Def. So they had all these extra pieces that they could add, and they were dope by themselves because 112 was my favorite and Jagged was super dope. But they had all these other advantages to us that we didn't have. And of course, Naughty put us on, but by the time we came out with Naughty wasn't necessarily on the level of Bad Boy or So Def. So it's always been about the track per se. But if you notice when it comes to my writing, I'm not a club person. Right. So if you listen to my up-tempos, I'm not talking about the club. We at the club party. Nope, we ain't even on that. Even with whatever I wrote for Idea, whatever you want to do, love, whether it's at the crib or the club, wifey, these are really slow mid-tempo subjects.
Right.
I'm speeding the tempo up, and I think that was the advantage we had. So I think that there's a lot of great music, and people are somewhat lazy, but you're lazy because you have Pro Tools now. You have different ways to make tracks. It's easier. For us, we had reel-to-reels in the beginning. We had to really sit there and really sang every part, and it was just a little different. You know what I mean? Which is, I'm happy for the new generation. It's just to work on your skill, hone your skills.
Right. Definitely. So you have the tour coming up. Before we go, I want to make sure we get that in there so we can know where to follow you, where to get these tour dates. I know you're going to be going all over the world with this tour to get the procession going so we can party. So tell us where we can find you, where we can follow you, and then, of course, where we can know more about this tour.
Well, justrl.com, JustRL on social media everywhere. Funny thing is I'm still doing the next tour. I know with the pandemic, everything was postponed.
Right.
So we were supposed to be in Australia, going back to Africa, all these wonderful places. So I know that when everything is lifted, I'll be doing all that. But at the same time, I want to multitask and still be churning out records of my own. I want to do it all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So everything we'll be posting all the flyers and everything that we're doing. We have so many things that we're working on. It's just that with the pandemic, everything was kind of like said, okay, we got to hold up. All these promoters sent out them deposits and they're like, okay, we want to reschedule. We understand that there was a lot of audiences and a lot of places that were excited to see all of us, and we got to go get it.
Right. So we send so many blessings to you during this time. We know that you are at home getting your craft even more grander than what it already is. We do thank you for coming by the Rough Kut and taking time out of your busy day today and play time with Rory. We Rory, we appreciate it.
I'm going up there now, but I know, listen, I want to tell you, Chanel, right?
Yes.
I want to tell you that I appreciate you for taking the time to interview me, because being in this game 23 years, I honestly understand that you could be on here talking to anybody.
Thank you.
And I don't take this for granted at all. All you guys that's behind the scenes, all the producers, behind the camera, people that's going to be editing this and everything, I just want y'all to know that it's important to me. This is how I feed my family. I thank you. My wife thanks you. Rory thanks you. And all the other groups that come from my era, my genre, thank you, because we need this platform. We need opportunities to let people know, look, we still doing it. So Jagged, 112, Drew Hill, all these amazing groups. I speak for all of us when I say that people like you guys that give us a voice, it means the world to us, man. And I thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And again, it was so wonderful having you here. Guys, thank you for viewing and tuning in here on the Rough Kut. You know how we do here on Urbanish TV. Find us on Indie Central TV, on your Roku or Amazon Fire. And be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. We look forward to seeing you next time.